Hello and welcome. This is Trevor Crow. Sitting next to me is Mark Pruner. He is a real estate aficionado. I believe you understand the market probably better than most out there.
Oh, thank you, Trevor.
Oh my goodness, Mark has a long, long history here in the town. He has served on the RTM, on the Land Trust. He has served on the bar, the Greenwich Bar. I didn't realize you were a lawyer until I
Right.
started looking you up. Mark, you're amazing. He's been on Bloomberg, CBS. He's been quoted in the Wall Street Journal, on the New York Times as well, and Forbes. So welcome, Mark.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Good. I'm doing really well. The real estate market is really interesting because every week for the last 3 years we've had record low inventory, and it just keeps going down. Right as of this moment, we have 61 houses in the total market. 2019, we had over 500.
Unbelievable. What is the root cause of this, Mark? Tell us how we got to this place where there's no homes available to buy at this point.
Well, and it's funny because it's actually worse. So, of those 61 homes, about half have been on for more than 4 months. So they're not really on the market in that anybody would want to buy, and they're not willing to lower their price. So, in reality, we have about 30 houses. And people talk about the lock-in effect of interest rates, but our median sales price in 2025 was $3.15 million. You can only deduct the first $750,000 of mortgage.
Goodness. We have we actually have a unique situation right here in Greenwich. We have a mostly older housing stock, is that right?
Yep.
We have a lot of people that don't necessarily rely on mortgages even when they go to buy.
Right. You've got a lot of Wall Street wealth. You've got inherited money, and interestingly enough, you have a fair number of retirees who've sold their company, and have money from there. But yeah, the biggest thing is we're going through the biggest generational wealth change from the baby boomers to their children.
So big shift, and a lot of these young people are getting real help from their parents, correct, to buy some of these homes.
Right.
You're going to
Yeah,
need some.
I had a client who was she was 27, he was 29, and they bought a $5.2 million house.
That's quite a big.
But
expensive
luckily,
house.
he was very successful himself.
Oh, good for
the
him.
family only helped to the tune of $2 million.
Oh, well, that was very generous of them. So there's a lot there's an intersection, right, between real estate and what I do. So I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. And by the way, the show today is brought to you by Mark Pruner and his GreenwichStreets.com. Is that correct?
We have a team of 5 agents just diagonally across the street here, above Saks, on Greenwich Avenue. Yeah, and it's worked out very well. We had the highest sale for the first 7 months of the year, and then Mr. Mondami got nominated.
And apparently that was helpful to the high-end sales. Is that correct?
Yes, it was interesting because we doubled our previous record. We had 19 sales over $10 million back in 2007 at the height of the bubble. Last year we had 38. Plus we have a bunch of contracts waiting to close.
Yeah,
And
that's
all
incredible.
of those happened from mainly the September to November. And then once he got elected, our sales slowed down.
So that effect is what? Buy on the concern, and once it happens, you're like, okay, well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's fear motivates people, and then once you
Phone calls here. He's busy. People are calling to buy homes right now.
and actually we do have a couple off market that we'll be putting on here in the next couple of weeks, including a downtown condo.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good news.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you think the spring market's going to look? How's it lining up?
It's interesting because I work at Compass. We had our office meeting, and normally this time of year, when they say, "Well, what are you working on? What's coming on the market?" Half of the realtors' hands go up. Now it was just a scattering of hands. So I don't expect that we're going to see a huge surge of inventory. Having said that, it's a spring market that's when we get most of our inventory.
Well, fingers crossed. There's people need to move. They need to downsize and upsize. And sort of back to that intersection of what you do and what I do is oftentimes these family crises cause homes to move, whether it's a divorce or somebody has inherited a home. There's many reasons why, or they have babies,
Right.
or it's everybody moved out and they like to downsize, right? So
It's what I call the organic market.
the organic market, we love that.
Yeah, people get married. They need a bigger house. They have one child. They'll stay. Then when they get the second child, then they'll move. Then the kids go away to college and move out. And occasionally there's a divorce in there, and then the family wants to downsize.
You know, I'm seeing a lot of my friends talk about downsizing, but they're sort of going, no, maybe not. There's really nowhere to go, and maybe I really want to keep the space for grandkids to come visit us. Is that happening?
Yeah, I right now, and that's a traditional decision that a lot of families make. But in the present situation, I've got 3 clients that are gridlocked. If I could find them a place to buy, they would put their house on the market, and that would be 2 transactions. And right now, we just have a very limited number of things to buy. So a lot of people are it's wait, hurry up.
Okay.
Because you need to move quickly when the right house comes along.
So are you seeing these families, especially once the kids have gone, do they move out of Greenwich, and where do they go if they move out, other than, of course, everybody's going to Florida, but is there other towns they're going to, or they'd rather stay right here?
So the short answer is both. And in fact, both for the same family. What you frequently see is a well-to-do family will retire down to Florida, but they will they'll buy a condo, and frequently a downtown condo, so that they can come back in the summers. They don't have to spend August in Florida, which is, I understand, is even worse than August in Greenwich.
August in Greenwich isn't so bad. We have the waterfront. You can go on Todd's Point and go swimming.
Yes,
It's
and
lovely.
the condos down on Steamboat Road always do well.
Yes. I mean, it is beautiful around here. I think personally year-round, but it is a little chilly right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I like the seasons. That's one of the other problems I had. I went down to a friend of mine who retired down there, and it was a beautiful day in Miami. You looked out the window and goes, oh no, another damn beautiful day. And the problem was he'd had 400 of them in a row, and he wanted something different.
Yeah. No, I understand that. I actually lived in Encinitas in California for about 7 years. My children were born out there, and it gets kind of oppressive when it's beautiful all the time. I was like, I want a rainy day.
Right,
you know?
and particularly if you're here where you have the seasons and you suffered through the cold, miserable days that are only 8 hours long and it goes down to 5 degrees, then the summer seems much better.
Yeah, and it's very exciting, and you're like, yes, we got there. Okay, so back to housing. You published this very important year-end report. I'll show it right here. It's in the Sentinel, correct?
Yeah.
Is it published already, or is this?
It was in last Friday's Sentinel. Beth sometimes doesn't publish the stuff because she wants people to subscribe to the paper, but it's probably up by now.
It's probably up by now.
Online at GreenwichSentinel.com.
So the biggest takeaway, right, is this inventory drop. It's just week by week, year by year, it has just gone down and down.
Yeah. At the same time, I think the unforeseen corollary to that is our sales are up, even though our inventory is down. And what's happened is the demand has gone up, and we saw that principally in the fourth quarter, where our sales in October, November, and December exceeded what they were in 2024 for those months.
Isn't that unusual? Usually, people don't buy going into Christmas. They wait till the spring market. Was this the Mondani effect? Or
I think the acceleration is a Mondani effect. Where you really see it, as we said, was over $10 million. But I do think that when you look at, you know, the when he got nominated and when the elections were, we really saw demand go up. Interestingly enough, February is usually our lowest month for sales, followed by November. And then December, people do year-end deals.
Oh, okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Right.
Yeah, and you see the same thing in January.
Yeah.
So some people want to wait till the sellers usually want to wait so they don't have to pay the capital gains taxes till 15 months later.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Or, or if they have a lot of losses in the stock market, they may want to offset some of their gains.
So you were telling me the median price is now $3 million.
$3.15 million,
Whoa.
up from 2.87.
And
up
is that
almost 10%.
okay? Any other town, even if you looked at within Fairfield County, how much higher is that than say a Fairfield or a Darien?
Well, Darien actually, my understanding is has done the best.
Really?
With when you look at appreciation, but within our town, and I would expect it would be true within Fairfield County, is the lower the price, the bigger the gain. Because you've got a pyramid of buyers at the very top. You've got a small number of buyers. The lower you go, the more buyers there are, so the more demand there is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what would you say is the sweet spot right now? The most demand is in the 3 million or the 2.5? Who's coming? Is it young families? What are you seeing?
I would say the sweet spot is from 600,000 to 6.6 million.
That's a pretty big sweet spot.
Basically, the entire market up to 6.5 million is under 3 months of supply, which is what I call a super seller's market.
That's pretty amazing.
So,
super seller's market.
Yeah. Usually, if it's under 6 months, that's considered a seller's market. Over 6 months of supply is a buyer's market. We're under 3 months of supply. Most of our categories are 1.5 to 2 months of supply.
So I noticed in LinkedIn you published a paper, What Not to Do When You Want to Buy a House.
Yes.
And I loved some of that advice. So give us a couple takeaways from that paper.
Well, if you want to buy a house, you need to. There was a Civil War general called Bedford Forrest, and he said you win battles by getting there firstest with the mostest.
Firstest with the mostest. Love it.
So that means as soon as something comes on, you're there to see the house. And you've already prepared yourself because you've seen multiple other houses. So if the house is right for you and the price is good, you can make an offer. You can go out and stand on the porch and go in and make an offer. The other thing you really want to do in this market is, if you do need a mortgage, is you want to get what's called underwritten pre-approved, where the bank has already done all the work.
Underwritten pre-approved. So that's a lot of work. You got to make sure the bank is saying,
the bank's going to
yes, we'll pull the trigger. You want to.
They're going to charge you. The only thing they're going to want is an appraisal, and that's 2 weeks. So if the seller has two offers that are about the same, and one has a 2-week contingency and one can close quicker, that doesn't matter. If one has a month and a half contingency and the other people haven't applied yet, you're going to go with the all cash offer, even if it's a little lower.
I don't know if I've ever heard of somebody closing on a house in 2 weeks. People are doing that?
Oh yeah, no, I mean the quickest I did one in 3 days.
3 days.
Yeah, if you
Mark.
if it's an all cash deal, it goes pretty quickly. If if there's a mortgage involved, 2 weeks is pretty quickly. But
All
30
cash.
used to be 45 days was the norm. Now it's 30, 35 days.
So I got to assume there was no inspection.
No, it was a teardown.
It was a tear. Oh,
Yeah.
Well, that'll happen.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about private sales. Is that quite a big deal here?
Yeah,
in
that's
Greenwich?
so one nice thing about working for Compass is we have access to a database of all the private sales in town. And so last year, actually through October, I'm getting ready to do the report for the whole year, but 22% of our sales were off market, and over
22%.
over 30% under $1.5 million, and over 6.5 million. At the high end, people want privacy. At the low end, there's just so much demand that you don't have to go to the trouble of making it look beautiful.
That's amazing. Just crazy. So what do you like best about your job?
So for many years, I was an attorney and did a lot of real estate practice, and I often dealt with people who couldn't solve their problems, and I would get them to agree, but they'd both hate me because they didn't want to give in. When you sell a house, one party gets a lot of money, the other party gets a place to live, and both parties tend to like me. So it's much nicer walking away from a real estate deal
That makes
than a
sense.
litigation.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, but you certainly bring a lot of knowledge though to the job, which makes you a unique person from that perspective, right?
I will say all those years in those controversial situations gave me a lot of useful negotiating skills. Like one of the things, I don't care if the other side yells at me. It's
'Cause they're
often you can, when somebody's doing that, you can negotiate a better deal once they wind down. So there's a lot of negotiation that you learn. Particularly, we did some M&A work where everybody in the business is a cutthroat expert, and it really sharpens your negotiating skills.
That's important to have. Okay, condos,
Yes.
co-ops here in town.
Right.
How is that sale? What's happening is inventory going up or down?
That's the one area that is softening a little bit. It's gone from extremely tight to very tight.
This is so ridiculous.
So yeah, we're not seeing, and I think part of it is people in New York City who live in multifamily buildings. We have several of those downtown and some other places. They aren't necessarily wanting to move out of a multifamily in New York City into a multifamily in Greenwich. We do have a fair number of townhouses and places like Lyons Farm where there are separate buildings, but it's still a tight market. It's just not as crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really tough. Again, that idea if you want to downsize and you want a nice newish condo here in Greenwich, they're hard to find.
Yeah, I mean, you right now you have a choice of two.
Oh, that's amazing. And you mentioned there were several high-end condo developments that came on the market last year and are all gone.
Yeah, oh yeah, those went very quickly. A lot of these things will go, though New Englanders, unlike Texans,
I like
want,
that. Just starting with that. New Englanders, unlike Texans, do what?
right, want to see it.
Want to see it.
Right,
Wow.
whereas Texans will buy off the plans.
Wow.
I went to law school at SMU, and I bought a condo down there when it was just sticks. A guy came in his Porsche to a buddy of mine, and the condo was just sticks, and it was listed for $3.5 million, and he offered him 2.4, and he said, "We're not going to accept 2.4, but why did you offer that?" He goes, "Well, that's all I can see here is $2.4 million worth of value."
That's interesting. Did he end up buying the condo, or did he
No,
move his
they
offer up, or no?
no, but they waited, and about 2 months later, it was all nicely done, with the exception of some finishes and some paint colors, and they sold it for 3.6.
That's quite a lot of money.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
So-
but it's a nice condo.
I bet it is. I bet it's gorgeous. Yeah, so our market here in Greenwich just has been so incredibly tight. There's very little supply. Is that true of the rest of Connecticut and throughout the country? I know we have a housing crisis, but I don't know. I believe I've read somewhere that things are a little better. Am I wrong?
Actually, the majority of the rest of the country is either a neutral or a buyer's market.
Interesting.
The
Okay.
We have a great guy named Mike Simonson, who is our chief economist, and
At Compass?
At Compass, yeah.
Okay.
He used to have his own firm. Compass got him to come on board, and he produces these great charts, and I like charts and maps and things.
I can see that
And-
with this
Right,
publication.
and he showed days on market by state, and so New England was very red, just because just because everything came on and went off so quickly. The Midwest out to Iowa was pink, and then most of the rest of the U.S. was light green to dark green. There are areas in South Florida where prices are going down.
Oh my goodness.
And the same in Austin, Texas, Boise, Idaho.
Really?
The places that ran up very quickly
Right after
have
COVID.
have also seen them coming down, but not to the where the prices were before.
Yeah.
But yeah, the bloom is off the rose, and new inventory, unlike here where it's extremely difficult to build.
Yes.
There you just go a little further out of town, you buy a farm, and you put up 200 condos.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But this is another thing I feel like I just read in the U-Haul sort of their year-end
Right.
description. And they're saying, of course, most of the states that are seeing the greatest outflux of, it was Massachusetts, California. I don't think they listed Connecticut as highly people leaving
No,
us.
Connecticut's done a little bit better.
Yeah.
You always see, in that organic life cycle, people retire and they often move to Florida. The Carolinas are very popular these days.
I saw that.
Yeah, as is Texas.
And
But
Tennessee and Alabama.
yeah,
a couple
Tennessee.
of these
Yeah.
smaller
In fact,
states.
there are people who move to Florida, decide it's too freaking hot, and don't come back, but
Yeah.
they are what are called halfbacks. So they move.
Halfbacks.
They move to the
Interesting.
Research Triangle. They move to Myrtle Beach. They move, somewhere in that area.
So I do have a friend who told me she's building a house near maybe Franklin, near Nashville, beautiful neighborhood, building beautiful place, and but they're keeping their place here. In case they don't like it.
Right.
Because she said she had a lot of friends who moved to Florida, sold their homes up here, and can't get back in here.
Right. So the tax issue with that you want to be careful of
Oh.
is that if you sell your house and you've lived in it as a primary residence for 2 of the last 5 years, then you get a $250,000 per person capital gains exemption. So you bought the house 40 years ago for $1 million. It's now worth $4 million. You've got $3 million of gain, but $500,000 of that, provided you're a couple, is tax free.
Tax free, but that's a lot of
The
capital
problem
gain.
is if you move down to South Carolina and live there for 2 or 3 years, you can end up losing that $500,000 of capital gains.
Oh my goodness, that is a problem.
Yes.
I think you need another article in that market.
Wrote that one actually
You
about
wrote
3
that
years
one.
ago. But they changed
But
the
it's a good
laws,
reminder.
so you get to write it again.
All right, we're going to have to wrap up. I still have about 20 questions. You're going to have to come back, Mark.
That'd
It's
be
such
cool.
a pleasure to learn about what's going on in the market here. Mark Pruner, where can people find you, Mark?
I'm at Compass, so mark.pruner@compass.com, or go over to our website, which has a ton of information at greenwichstreets.com, and check out the blog, which is all the articles from the Sentinel, or over at the Greenwich Sentinel.
Yeah, Greenwich, this is a great article. I'm just enjoying it myself right now. But Mark, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
spending time with us.
Thanks.
And
Great
we're
to see you.
going to go to a station break. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Thank you, Mark.
Good. Thank you. That was fun.